I have tea. Oh my god, do you know what this says? It says, "Don't touch me, peasant." My heart is racing 100 miles an hour for I'm Nicholas, by the way. For like the last few months, my heart like starts like racing like really fast, and it only happens for like a half an hour, maybe less, and then I'm fine. Sick. I'm having tea. My tea has inspirational quotes on it. I'm gonna read one for you right now. Sit down and listen right now. It says, "How strange that nature does not knock and yet does not intrude." Please leave in the comments if you understand what that means, because I definitely don't. Anyway, I'm freezing. Do you want to know why? I simply just am. So what are we talking about today? Should we get into it? Oh my god, thank you so much for like the love on my last video. I'm very appreciative. You have no idea. That's the vibe. That's the vibe that I'd like to like bring to my YouTube. It's like thoughtful, if you know what I mean. If you want to be on a self-help journey like me, then sick. If you don't and you just want to listen to me, sick. If you don't at all, bye, I guess. I'm like so appreciative. And thank you for your patience. I love you all so much. Mwah. I love conversing in the comments. You know, I try to respond to almost every single comment I get. I love discussion. Like, I love talking to you guys, and I love that there's so many like other opinions and experiences, and then people who also do understand what I'm going through, and I just want more of that discussion. Oh my god, guys, I can see in like so I have like a monitor thing right here. Okay, this is like the good lighting spot in the house. I need to make behind me a little more pleasing, because it's just full of like junk. Like, there's literally a baseball bat right there, just in case somebody tries to break in and I have to like, you know what I mean? I am gonna sprinkle like some vlogs in here and oh my god, I'm gonna try that again. I'm gonna sprinkle some vlogs in here and there. I can't try, but I'm panicking. Oh my god, why is my heart racing? Am I like... Whatever. I'm gonna try to sprinkle in some vlogs here and there, because I do like filming them, and I know that you guys like vlogs, and you're nosy. You're fucking nosy, and you want to know about my life. Just kidding. Anyway, I'm done talking about this. So let's talk about what we're getting into. I'm so fucking hyper, or I'm having like an anxiety attack. I don't really know which one it is, but I'm gonna lean into it and just film this video. Another thing that I'm working on is like how I enter rooms, and this is actually like a really big topic that I honestly could talk about for like years, but I'm gonna try to keep it as brief as possible because I can't fucking stop talking. That's all I do. I know that a lot of people are affected by people. I mean, everyone's affected by people, to be honest. Like, whether people are like, oh, I don't care what people think or not, like there's a reason why you think that. The people who don't have time for anybody, like there's a reason, or the people who take on a lot of other people's emotions, like there's a reason. So I figured that we would talk about that. There's a very cute squirrel right outside my window right now, and it's gonna be very hard for me to like focus. I'm very distracted, but he's so cute. One thing that I've talked about here and there on my social media is that I was like a bit of a bully growing up. I definitely wasn't the best person. And I actually remember my mom used to say to me like, oh my god, like I remember when you were little, like young, and you used to be so nice and kind. And my mom would be like, what do you want to eat? What do you want to do? What do you want? Blah, blah, blah. And I would be like, whatever you want, mommy. And then like it just like switched one day, and I just became like this like selfish, meaner person. Whether I intended to affect people around me or not, I did. And another thing my mom had said to me, so we were having this discussion and I was like, oh yeah, like I've never been bullied. And she was like, no, you have, you just didn't care. And I was like, oh, I wonder why. And then I thought about it and I realized it's because like I was meaner. Like my defense mechanism after something that had happened to me growing up was like, all right, you can't bully me, or you can't hurt me, or you can't do anything to me because I'm gonna do it worse to you 1 million times over. Being a mean energy to people, there is no excuse. Now, there is I don't want to say there's a reason, because like that's wrong. Like, you know, people are like, oh, well, I went through this and I didn't bully people. And it's like, sick, good for you. I wish I was like that too. Do you know what I mean? At the end of the day, it does play a part. Like things that happen to you, they mark you and you start to act differently through your life. Some people retaliate and some people, they close off. It just depends. How did I enter rooms, and how did the things that I do or did affect people? So something happened to me as a kid, and from that moment on, to be honest, I can't tell if like I grew a thicker skin or what it is, but you couldn't be meaner to me than I could be to you. You know what I mean? What you could do to me wouldn't like penetrate my soul. And part of healing, because you know I'm on this fucking healing journey, looking within and being more selfish and seeing how the trauma like affects you in your everyday life. And something that I thought about one day just out of nowhere was like, oh, it's not just about me. These things and trauma and whatever, how that affects you, like, how does that affect everyone else around me? Because that definitely made me show up differently. And how I chose to react or didn't choose to react or just naturally reacted create a ripple effect affecting everybody around me? I wonder if I'm gonna stop shaking in this video. Should I have had a green tea, which is caffeinated, if I'm literally like shaking, panicking? No, but here we are. I want to be a better person, but I don't feel like I could move forward as a better person without learning from how I acted before. I don't feel personally at this moment that I need to look to other people or look at how other people act or how other people are. I don't need to learn from other people to learn how to be a better person. I need to learn from myself. And honestly, what I think is really cool is in that moment, it made me realize that I already do this. Like once I thought about that, I don't look at other people's choreography. So for those who don't know, I'm a dancer well, not a dancer anymore. I teach dance and I choreograph. And I have never really looked at other people's work to inspire me. I've looked at my work, and that might sound selfish, but what I've always done, and my students always say it to me all the time, I look at what I've done and I try to elevate it or make it better, or in my brain, how it could be better and all this stuff. And I really feel like that's how I also, moving away from dance, need to approach my life. Like, what have I done? How have I treated my husband? How have I treated people around me? How have I treated myself? What are different ways that I can elevate that and make it better? I feel like I don't need to look to someone else. Like, that's not an excuse. I can learn techniques from other people, but honestly, at the end of the day, I need to break down how I treat myself and how can I do that better? How can I look at how I treat people and do that better? I'm pretty sure I've told this story before, but it would have been eons ago. A moment that changed my life forever. I was probably mid-20s. I don't necessarily remember the exact time because it was so long ago, but I do know the like era of my life. I was still a pretty shitty person, I'm not gonna lie. I was pretty selfish in the way that I treated people. Like, I wasn't very good. I had a student who came to me crying. She like bear hugged me and she was so young, maybe like 9-ish. I was like, oh my God, like, what's wrong? And she was like, well, these other students, they're saying these things to me and it's not nice. I listened to her cry in my arms and I just thought to myself out of nowhere, I was like, oh my God, I did that to people. Like, I said things to people and this is what they look like after. And this was the first time, whether they did look like that or not, or I'm overthinking things, but it was the first time that like things were put into perspective and I was like, holy shit, the things that I said, like they didn't just end there. There is an after effect to the things that I say and the way that I show up, whether I said anything or not, or I just was a negative energy in a room, that creates ripple effects. And from that moment, I said to myself, oh, I'll never treat anyone like this again, blah, 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 right? But it's like not that easy. You don't just wake up and then all of a sudden you're a better person. Like, you just genuinely have to do the work. And I do find that I'm still, to this day, tested all the time of like, can I make these changes to make better choices? I'm not necessarily like a different person because I still have negative thought. I'm just trying to change the way I attack that negative thought, whether it's about me or other people around me. I mean, yes, it is how I treat other people, but if I say something negative about myself, later on in the day, that's gonna bounce off the wall and come back to me. So I do thank her for that moment. She'll never know. I mean, like, we don't talk. Like, she was a student of mine. She graduated, I moved on, like everything. But I really do thank her for that moment because it wholeheartedly changed my life and changed my perspective on how I treat people and how I walk into rooms. And honestly, my conscience is so bad now. Like, I literally think of a bad thing that I could say to someone. I just like think about it forever. Like, I can't get over the fact that I even thought that thing about someone. And something else that I'm thinking of a lot is now for my career, I'm trying to network more and go to more places. Like, I have to go to an event, and I've never been to like an event like this, but it is coming up. I have to think about how I'm gonna present myself. You know what I mean? I've always been told that I give off in person, not like online, because I am not an animated version of myself, but I'm like there to make people happy. Do you know what I mean? Or to teach something or whatever. In like my real life, people say like I look really intimidating. I have this like long dark hair. I generally look like this. And so people are like, oh, I was really intimidated by you. And I'm a very like loud personality. I know you're thinking, you? No way. I'm a very loud personality. I have to think about like, oh, whoa, even if I don't mean to look like that, how am I gonna present myself in a room where it's my peers and people in the same field as me? Especially like when your personality is your job, it's like a whole different thing. But also like even in teaching, like now I try to go in to my classes with a little more energy or a little more personality or a little more, I don't know, fun, because I realized the way I'm showing up is going to affect my students, and obviously like they're kids or they're teenagers and they're so malleable that I want to be a positive energy, so that like a million years down the line, like that squirrel is so fucking cute, I can't. It's just looking at me. It might create a ripple effect in that way for them, so when they interact with people, or even just like maybe I act a certain way, they go into their next dance class with a different teacher and they give off a positive energy, you know? It's definitely a lot easier said than done though, because life can be very overwhelming most of the time. Like, it's not easy being an adult. I thought being a teenager was hard at the time. Babe, that was absolutely nothing. And it's hard. There are days when I walk into my job, or I'm on Twitch, or I'm here, I'm doing something, and it's hard for me to bring a certain kind of energy that creates a positive ripple effect, but that's a part of the work. I also think a lot of it has to do with the people you surround yourself with, the people you choose to hang around with, even like people you don't choose to hang around with. The company you keep does, again, have that ripple effect on you. Please don't take a shot for every time I say ripple effect. We all have friends that we grow with or apart from, or we grow separately, different paths next to each other, and we keep them around because we've just had them as friends for so long. So newsflash, people grow and it's okay to like move on. And I spoke about this in a video a long time ago about how to like move on from like toxic friendships. I'll try to link it below because it's been a while, but I still stand by everything I said on how to remove yourself from situations, and how it doesn't have to be this like big grand ordeal where you like cut someone off. It doesn't have to be that. Like, you can slowly grow away from people and move on in your life. You don't have to like make it this big dramatic thing. It's not that deep. We think it is. Do you know what I mean? We're in that situation where we've had a friend for like a million years and we're like, oh my God, how am I gonna like break it to this person? They're gonna be so upset. But then honestly, it's not that big of a deal. That's not. But the people you keep around you can have a positive or negative impact on you. And honestly, the negative one is way more not penetratable. What is the word? Whatever, you know what I mean, you freaks. That's why it's like super important to like really take a look at the people you choose to keep in your life. It's really important. So choose wisely, freaks. Anyway, back to what I was saying. I'm all over the place. Back to what I was saying before. Have you ever been in a situation where you're around a bunch of people, but then one person's energy is just like, ugh. It sucks the soul out of your body, like somebody in the back alley of a Denny's at 2 a.m. like after the club. Do you know what I mean? Don't be that person. How you show up is your responsibility. Your emotional responsibility is just that. It is your responsibility. There will always be things that are trying to derail your energy, but that's your job to keep that train fucking chugging. Do you know what I mean? That's something that I really have to learn. Still to this day, I'm still working on it. That's why I wanted to share it with you. Like, this is something that I'm currently battling, is like, I think everything is like this, and then something happens and I'm like, but no. It is my job on how to respond. And I've recently responded so negatively, and that's why I wanted to talk about it. It's almost like holding myself accountable. But when you start to take in that negative energy instead of taking action, then like you start to reflect that energy. And then it becomes not your problem. Like, I know self-help is selfish, but it becomes no longer just your problem. Yes, your emotional responsibility is your problem, but guess what? Once you don't take hold of it, it becomes everyone else's problem because of that ripple effect. Like, personally, I spend the most time around my husband, obviously. And I think like after the fact, I'm trying to get better at in the moment catching it. Something will happen and my brain just does a negative thing or has a negative thought, and I feel so horrible after because I'm like, oh, I just acted a certain way. Not that I took things out on him, but the way I acted did affect him in a certain way, and I don't want to be that towards him. It's not just about your reputation either, like how people see you, even though that is a really big thing, because like the energy that you leave in a room is everybody's last impression of you. So the next time they think of you, that is what they're gonna think of. And like, while your reputation will start to like dwindle, it's just more about putting that positive energy into society. I feel like obviously there's so much negativity out there, and while there is, we focus so much on negativity. And I'm not saying that it's like a bad thing to like have a petty moment or blah 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 blah. Like, no one's perfect all the time. Do you know what I mean? But it's just how much more positivity can we look at, and can we think about, and can we add to the world? And it doesn't need to be these like massive things. You know what I mean? How much better is it when you hold the door for someone and that person says thank you? Like, that feels good to you as the person who held the door. When someone holds the door for you, that feels nice. Do you know what I mean? It doesn't have to be this massive charity thingy. Like, it can simply just be a positive moment that like, whatever, like when you walk into a store, this is actually the thing that I would say I struggle with the most, and it's so silly. When someone greets you at the store and is like, hi, how are you? And you just like say, hi, how are you back? Like, I know that sounds so silly, but I really struggle with that because I get really anxious really quickly when it comes to interacting with people. And I look like a fucking bitch when I just like would be like, hi, and walk by. That's putting them on a negative energy, rather than like, oh, if I was just like, hi, how are you? Blah, 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 back, like they might feel more comfortable in their job doing it with the next one. Anyway, fuck off. That's what I'm trying to say. I'm just like starting to get out into the world more after being confined in my house by choice. And I just now want to make sure that the energy that I'm putting out into the world is a little more thoughtful and positive. And I don't just want to like reintegrate into society and be the same person I was for so many years. Like, I don't want to have that impact on people. So like how you show up, it matters every single day. And I get we're in our selfish era and it's like about what we need to heal. But I personally really need to like look at how I treat people every single day. But yeah, I just feel like even our triggers, like this is really hard. Obviously there's like such a broad spectrum to like what triggers us, but like this is like a kind of a different topic and maybe I want to make an entire video about it. I'm not sure yet, but holding ourselves responsible for our triggers. Obviously there's such a huge spectrum. Like there's things that are so debilitating and there's things that are just like, they just bother us. But I don't know. I have this weird thing about like when someone's online and they're like on someone's live, or they're even like Twitch or TikTok live, or they're on someone's Instagram account or whatever, any social account, when they're in that situation, or they go to a party in person, anything like that. And you personally know in your soul that you've gone through something and that you have these triggers or whatever. And again, I'm not saying the crazy serious stuff, but like if you have these things that like greatly affect the way that you move in society and these things, there is also a personal responsibility that you have. I have them as well, obviously, or I wouldn't be talking about it. You have a personal responsibility to remove yourself. You know what I mean? Just like you can walk into a room, you can walk out of it. Just like you can click on someone's page, you can click off of it. You can be at a party, you can leave it. You can do so much. Now I understand there are situations that are not easy to leave, and that's like not what I'm talking about. That's a completely different thing. I'm talking about those situations where you go somewhere and you might be triggered by something that somebody says. This makes me sound like an asshole, but like you don't have to be there. I know you want to be somewhere, but it is up to you. Like there are so many Instagram accounts, there's so many TikToks, there's so many YouTubes, there's so many everything for somebody to be unhappy or triggered by where you are. Like you don't have to be there. Do you know what I mean? I've done it with my own family. I don't support what people say, whether they used to be my friend or family or anything. I no longer value the things that they say. So what do? Just because they're blood? Fuck it, I don't give a shit. I will block them, unfollow them. I will not show up to things. Like, it's not that deep. I don't know. People talk about it all the time, being like, oh, family and friends. I wish I had better family and friends. Bitch, what the fuck? Don't be around them. I don't know. I know it's not that easy for everybody, but I'm just saying, like, if you're on a live that somebody has and you're like, oh, that topic's really triggering to me, then, like, maybe take a seat, take a step back. You know what I mean? Your emotional responsibility and the responsibility of your triggers is like, if you know that something is greatly going to affect you, like it might be time to take a step back, because you are going to reciprocate, you are going to receive that energy and you are going to then put more of that energy out negatively into the world. It is healing to take responsibility of those triggers and take responsibility of those emotions and things like that. It's so healing to do that, because then you regain a power of choosing what rooms you're walking into. Do you know what I mean? I'm definitely gonna go now. I just wanted to rant about that for a sec. I felt very passionate about it because that's currently what I'm going through. It's currently what I'm working on. Do you know what I mean? And that's what I want to do, bitches. I want to show and I'm going through. But I'd love to hear your opinions on this, and like if this is something you have worked on or should work on or are going through, I would love to hear, because that's what I'm currently going through. And I love the, like, oh my God, what people were saying in the comments. Oh my God, it really, honestly, like it helps me a lot to know that people are going through the same thing or have, or are like, oh, maybe I should think about this way, or it changes my perspective. Fucking, I hate when people say normalize this, but normalize learning new information or getting a new idea and like, you know what I mean? Changing your thoughts. So yeah, anyway, love you so much. Thank you for hanging out with me today. I don't know if next week will be a vlog or it'll be like another little sit down talk, but I literally live for this. I want to make like a cute little cozy area. Do you know what I mean? I feel like that would be really cute for like our little chats and little talks. One where I'm not looking out the fucking window the whole time, or we can like sit down, be cozy and cute. Like I feel like I have so many little nooks and crannies in my house that we could do that in, and so we should do that. Oh, maybe I'll use the upstairs. Maybe I'll use the blue room. Blue's coming. I'll have to clean the room though, and that might be a lot of effort, so maybe I won't do that. Anyway, I need to shower because my husband's coming over and I haven't showered in 2 days. That's disgusting. Should I have told you that information? Absolutely not. That squirrel is still there. Okay, bye. I love you. Like, comment, subscribe, share, do all of that. Do you know what I mean? I love you. Thank you so much for the support. Always, I'm so appreciative. And I hope that with these videos, can be of support to you as well.